Stand by. And off and away we go. Event number one, not just of the team competition, but your 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games Atlantic Regional now underway. Start of your top teams between the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast getting after it on this Friday morning. Here's how this first one shakes out in relay style. Starting with our guys, as you can see, 25 overhead squats. They're going to advance forward and then complete 150 double unders. That's going to go male, female, male, female. 135 for the guys on the barbell right now. The first ladies are going to hit 95 pounds for their overhead squats. Then it's going to go up to 155 and 115 for the second pairs. As our first couple of teams get their athletes unbroken through that set of overhead squats and move on to the dubs. It looks like in first place, going to be in lane number 3, the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs. So once all 4 athletes complete this couplet of overhead squats and dubs, they're going to advance forward to the second half of the competition floor for the handstand walk obstacle course. One at a time through this thing in its entirety, and that is what comprises event number 1 here at the Atlantic Regional. And now we've got all of our gentlemen on to the double unders. They're going to advance forward every 75 reps. We'll see if the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs hang on to that lead heading into athlete number 2. Sure, we're getting close here, folks. Who's going to be that first squad? And it's going to be down the way, lane number 8, CrossFit Boynton Beach with the advantage as their first female athlete takes the competition floor. Again, 95 pounds. Let's see what kind of lead they build. That first competitor finishing right around 210, so it's going to be a 10-second lead for CrossFit Boynton Beach over the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs, making their way down from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Next to that barbell, T2 CrossFit, PR Star. So it goes 1 down the way, CrossFit Boynton Beach. In second, the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs, then a toss up for third between T2 CrossFit and PR. Let's see the first one on the rope, gonna stay true. CrossFit Boynton Beach. The Gamma Llama Ding Dongs now moving up, so they're gonna be your 1 and 2. It looks like in third, gonna be none other than PR Star, making the trek from Chantilly, Virginia. So you're 1, 2, and 3 off front and center on those double unders for athlete number 2. Remember, the second pair loading up some weight on the barbell. The next gentleman are going to be hitting their 25 overhead squats at 155. For this first event, folks, 17-minute time cap. As we look to see if Boynton Beach will hang on to that advantage, or will the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs be able to take them down to welcome out athlete number 3. Looking down the way, they've both advanced on to that second box of 75 reps. Also moving up down the way, CrossFit West Chase, moving into position to potentially contend for the top spot here at heat number 1. And hanging Hanging on to that lead, ladies and gentlemen, CrossFit Boynton Beach welcoming out athlete number 3 just a couple seconds later. And those light blue shirts, the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs in lane number 3. So your 1 and 2 remain the same. Who will emerge as your third place squad? It's going to be right in the center, PR Star, still in a position to potentially contend for the win. Looks like moving in to 4th place down the way, lane number 9, CrossFit West Chase. So through the first 2 weeks, we've seen most teams go unbroken on their sets of 25 overhead squats as RDU tags up and brings out athlete number 3. South Mountain CrossFit tagging up. Their third athlete takes the competition floor. So remember, folks, once all 4 competitors complete the couplet, we'll then be able to advance on to that handstand obstacle course. Has proved very troublesome for teams across the first couple of weeks as CrossFit Hype gets their second athlete across the line. Check it out, only 30 of the 150 teams through this year's regional competition have been able to finish event number 1 in its entirety. So you know it's only the best of the best. As we look to see, will it be the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs, or will it be down the way CrossFit Boynton Beach hanging on to that lead? We'll see. They're your 1 and 2, the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs in the bright light blue shirts. Down the way, the CrossFit Boynton Beach in the black shirt, green shorts, and it's going to be CrossFit Boynton Beach still with the advantage heading into athlete number 4.
Let's go, Sarah.
Next, the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs just about 5 seconds behind. Next, it's going to be PR Star. So they remain your 1, 2, and 3 as their final athlete at 115 pounds complete their overhead squats and dubs.
Come on, Sarah.
And don't count out CrossFit West Chase, lane number 9, red shirt. She is also in contention. As now Sable Park gripping and ripping that 115-pound barbell. So we've got 5 teams with their final competitor out of the floor, but a hand is up in lane number 8. It was gonna be CrossFit Boynton Beach, but she had to break. The Gamma Llama Ding Dongs, your new leaders here in heat number 1.
That away. Good work.
So Boynton Beach could not stay unbroken, as it looks like CrossFit West Chase moving into 2nd place. So the race is now between CrossFit West Chase of Tampa, Florida, PR Star of Chantilly, Virginia, and the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs of Hershey, Pennsylvania. They're your 1, 2, and 3. As we pass the 9-minute mark, remember folks, just a 17-minute time cap. These teams' first event of 6 this weekend. As the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs advance into that next box first.
There she is.
And anchoring for T2 CrossFit, none other than Anna Tunnicliffe, Games veteran, here to hold it down and get their team onto that handstand walk first? Or will PR Star, the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs or CrossFit West Chase get there first? Let's see if Anna's veteran experience can help her team rise to the top as she looks to finish up her first 75. So I'm getting ready, folks, to see which team is hitting that obstacle course first. And it is gonna be front and center PR Star, as well as the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs up the step, down the ramp. And check it out, the first athletes through the first obstacle, but keep on going. PR Star looking to do it unbroken. A few more steps and she will do just that. One athlete through. CrossFit Boynton Beach looking to bring their team back in it, as now they will be the third team to get their first athlete across the line. Remember, folks, only 30 of 150 teams have finished this event through its entirety in the first 2 weeks. But one team making it look easy, PR Star with 2 athletes across the line, Gamma Llama Ding Dong with 2 athletes across the line. CrossFit West Chase with 1, make it 2 for Boynton Beach. The Gamma Llama Ding Dongs looking to make it athlete number 3. They got their first athlete, or the third athlete, excuse me, through the first obstacle. And there's the first competitor for T2 CrossFit. Coming up on the 5-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen. Just about 5 minutes remaining. So 2 athletes is the going rate, the lead to this point. The Gamma Llama Ding Dongs looking to make it 3. But check it out, your new leaders, 3 athletes through for PR Star. So 3 athletes through, 1 to go. Will they be the next team? The first one here at the Atlantic Regional got halfway for the Gamma Llama Ding Dongs. And check it out, CrossFit West Chase, 3 athletes across the line. So it is between those 2 teams, PR Star and CrossFit West Chase, as well as now Sable Park, it appears, 3 athletes across the line. So 3 teams with 3 competitors done. Will it be Sable Park almost through that last obstacle? Again, the numbers, something like 20% of teams only have been able to finish this event in its entirety with 3.5 minutes to go. Sable Park in position to do so. And she's up, ladies and gentlemen, lane number 10. Halfway up, almost to the top of the ramp. Can she do it, Atlantic Regional? Oh! And our first team to finish up, ladies and gentlemen, CrossFit Hype, 13:52 unofficially. As CrossFit Seoul Miami gets their first athlete across the line. Less than 3 minutes to go. And CrossFit Hype with a come from behind heat win. Won it on the handstand walk course for sure. Check it out again, lane number 10. For that 4th and final competitor, a few more steps, and the Tampa, Florida team finishing it up right around 14:38, and they're hyped about it. Next will be lane number 3, finishing it up as well. The Gamma Llama Ding Dongs taking third. Seeing an impressive showing here in heat number 1. Again, worldwide, very few teams in that first heat have been able to get it done. Less than 2 minutes to go. Let's see what teams we have in contention. Lane number 1, RDU with their 4th and final athlete. South Mountain CrossFit, lane number 2, also with their 4th and final athlete making their way down. A few more steps and no reps at the last possible step for both SMCF and RDU. 90 seconds.
You can do it. 3. Come on, stay strong. One.
So that has seemed to be it across those first 2 weeks. 1 or 2 athletes just unable to complete the course. RDU and SMCF, if there's a team that's going to do it side by side in lanes 1 and 2, it's going to be one of these teams. RDU with their final female competitor up the ramp. Down the ramp, she's got to get across that red line. Can she do it? Ladies and gentlemen, 45 seconds, and they will be your next team to close it out. Another chance for South Mountain CrossFit as they try again to get up the ramp. Potentially their final opportunity, tries to get that forward lead almost to the top, but not able to do so. We've got 20 seconds. I know it's early, ladies and gentlemen, but let's rally behind our final few teams. What do you say? Make some noise for them. We've got just 10 seconds. And we will count it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And time. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And an extra special shout out to your Heats 1 winners from Boca Raton CrossFit Hype.
Here's how they will line up for heat number 2. 3 heats in event number 1. Looking in lane number 7, the Joalo Rangers would like to rally last year. Had a chance to go to the games, had a 23rd place finish, fell out of the games, and then CrossFit Athletics should be a contender to bump up into the later heats this weekend.
Yeah, it's just one of those teams you're looking at, had a decent open performance. We'll see how they stack up. What it is, it's the skill of the handstand walk course. Overhead squats and double unders shouldn't be a problem for anybody out here on the floor. But that handstand walk course is the make or break one.
One of our favorite team names, Freaking CrossFit 2018 in lane number 9.
A lot of young athletes, a lot of inexperience. I'd like to see how they handle the big stage.
Here we go, heat number 2, event number 1. It's the 3rd week of the CrossFit Games Regionals here in the Atlantic, and they will start things off with the 25 overhead squats.
When you're looking at this, honestly, as the very first 2 athletes, there's no issue here. It's only 25 overhead squats. It's only 135 pounds and 95 pounds, then 150 double unders. So your first 2 athletes are just the ones that couldn't handle the heavier weights. What this event really is, it's not a team test per se as how good the team is as a group. This is 4 individuals racing to finish the first event. And it's going to start with the 25 overhead squats and then into the 150 double unders. What the judges are really looking at is that open at the top, right? Opening up the hips and then making sure they get below parallel. And then you get to these double unders. The problem here is that some guys, you're leading out the team. You want to do well, and you're going to go too fast, right? So when you're looking at that, we don't want any no reps on the overhead squats, and then we want unbroken double unders, not necessarily fast double unders. If you don't miss and you're relaxed, you're going to have a fast time. If you miss 7 times trying to sprint through it, like we just saw that miss there, you're going to lose time there at the end.
Here in lane 1, that's Team Ridgeline. They were 10th in the Mid-Atlantic region and 128th worldwide. We move back to lane number 10, CrossFit Spartanburg in the red top, the black shorts. 87th worldwide, they were 10th in the Southeast out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. As they will advance again on the double unders, and then the athlete will wait for 2, 3, and 4 to advance.
And what these first athletes can do is they can really push the pace as hard as they want. You want to see that a little bit more on the squats. Again, like I said, is you don't want to get out of control on the double unders, but these guys are going to have at least 8 minutes of rest before they even kick up to the handstand. So your first couple athletes, you can kind of like, hey, you can push that pace just a little bit more because you're going to get some break on the tail end of that, because every athlete has to run through this before they start the handstand walk course.
You know, Spartanburg in the red on the right, and there are their athletes in the background, the females in the black tank tops and the male in the red t-shirt. They are waiting on that first male to wrap up, and then the next athlete will move. It's Ridgeline and Carolina CrossFit right now.
So this is the first time we see the female athletes take the floor. 25 overhead squats and 150 double unders is the same for everybody, at least the numbers are. The weights will change for the first two athletes versus the second two. These ladies will be doing 95 pounds for 25 overhead squats. Again, this is heat 2 of 3. I don't think there should be any issues whatsoever in terms of the total volume. But what happens sometimes is that new athletes or inexperienced athletes will almost get themselves in such a frenzy to get out there, they'll get tired. And there's a weird thing about kind of like that adrenaline dump is that in your first 10, it's almost like you hit the NOS a little bit too soon. If we're going a Fast and Furious reference here, but you have a limited burst there, and what can happen is that backside of that is just a crumbling effect that you'll see out there.
You saw on the top of your screen, white tank top, the red shorts gathering the jump rope now. Is team revamped, 8th in the Mid-Atlantic, 140th worldwide out of Columbia, Maryland, right there on the front of your screen. They were 4th a year ago here in the Atlantic. They finished 30th at the games. This is Aaliyah and Gary Helmick's team. Remember, they were the husband-wife combo that went to the games as individuals 2 years ago. They're not competing, but it is their box.
Well, I think, competitive athletes breed competitive atmosphere,
right,
in terms of that. So you can see maybe this is a time to step back and bring in a new crop of athletes into the fold, and we'll see that a lot from time to time.
Again, you will notice on the floor, they will do half of their double unders. They will advance past that dotted line on the floor to finish the back half. That gives you a little reference at home or on your mobile device watching. And again, here in lane number 7, that was a Douala. So again, moving forward, top of your screen, your leaders. Down here in the bottom, the Army Green team top, that's Team Ridgeline, the female in her last section of double unders before they will advance and wait for their next two athletes. Here's Team Iron Force, yellow top and the burgundy shorts in lane number 5, 6th in the Mid-Atlantic, 97th World Weiss, excuse me.
It's a very interesting technique on double unders that almost you have your right hand doing one thing and your left hand doing another thing. But consistency in that type of training, I guess, makes it work. But I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Carolina CrossFit now has their third male on at the top of your screen. 8th in the Southeast, 89th worldwide out of Columbia, South Carolina. And a couple athletes in now from Spartanburg. Here comes their last male.
That's right before the 5-minute mark. So those are two decent, I would say, starting the, if we're looking at event record pace, I'll put that in quotation marks, it's 10:13 to get all 4 athletes through that. Keep in mind that now we're moving to the heavier weights, so you're going to have to be below that pace, which is right around 5:05, to even consider yourself being on pace, moving out and into the handstand walks. But done in about 4 or 5 minutes is pretty common what we'll see. This shouldn't take more than about 2.5 minutes if you're going steadily unbroken on the squats and the double unders.
Here is CrossFit Spartanburg again, currently in 3rd. They've been up at the top 3 so far as we're moving along at a 17-minute time cap and kind of getting near that first one.
Is that athletes working really hard to get through the last few reps on those overhead squats, and that's what I meant earlier saying is you don't want any no reps. Obviously, you don't want any no reps, but what that does is just having 2 or 3 extra no reps for 25 overhead squats at 155 on the men's side. That's a lot of extra work to do in terms of how hard you're trying to go and what that's doing to your shoulders leading into 150 double unders.
Team Ridgeline currently in 2nd here in the Army Green top with the gray shorts. They've been in the top 3 for the majority of heat number 2. between Ridgeline, Spartanburg, and Carolina. And let's move to Carolina. They are in lane number 8, again out of Columbia, South Carolina. Again, their athletes, Rachel Thibodeau, Christian Mathis, Jeff Taylor, Zach Taylor. And they have one female in the background. They have one of their females already in. It looks like Katie Casey's wrapped up, so that should be Corinne Francis, a Games team veteran. She finished 21st in the Open in the Southeast region, so she could have been on that borderline, maybe have opted to go individual, but decides to go team, and right now Carolina leading this heat. And again there, as you see, Chase, on your screen, a lot of double unders, some overhead squats, but what is looming off to the right is going to be that handstand obstacle.
I mean, it's the only thing I'm really focusing on right now. It's like, this is great. Do your overhead squats, have fun doing jump rope for 150 reps, but it really doesn't matter unless all of your athletes can do a handstand walk. Or if your athlete can't actually snatch 115 pounds, 2 no reps right off the bat in that team.
There's Ridgeline on the left of your screen in the Army green top. That'll be their final female. And Carolina CrossFit also has Christian Mathis, their final female. So now you see there's Smith on the left of your screen in the Army green top at the bottom. So it's Ridgeline and Carolina, your top 2. Again, Carolina with about a 5-rep lead over Team Ridgeline right now.
See a lot of wobbly reps out on the floor all across the board. I mean, it's not that heavy, but as I said before, is that it's sometimes weird. Like, the competition floor can either kind of propel you to be a better athlete, or it can do quite the opposite and have this almost paralyzing effect. And you see it a lot with a lot of more new athletes, those that just haven't been in this atmosphere, because if you've never stepped onto the competition floor at the regional level, there's so much energy out there. You got to learn how to focus that and keep it together.
Now, as we see Christian Mathis here on your screen from Carolina CrossFit, white top, the red shorts. And I know you talk about this a lot. Keep your composure, especially on these double unders. You want to be consistent, unbroken, don't go fast. I like how she let the barbell go down, calmly compose herself, got to the jump rope, didn't get too quick of a hurry.
Well, you see these, athletes slamming the bar down and trying to sprint over the bar. It's like, you've got 150 double unders coming up. It's like, just put the bar down and walk to your rope and pick it up. You don't need to save time, just don't waste time. And those are the things that drive me crazy when you're looking on the sideline. It's like, okay, my bar bounced out of my lane, I'm going to slowly move it back. Or I try to sprint over my bar and then I got tripped up. Or I try to go too fast on double unders and I missed 6 times in a row and then I got frustrated. So some of that calmness you want to see, but you don't want to see laziness or forgetfulness at the same time.
So Christian Mathis there in the white top. There are the top 3. Carolina, Requisite, and Douala. As Requisite and Douala begin to make a move here. As we get near the first half of this test, we're past the halfway point of a 17-minute time cap. And again, we'll have 6 tests this weekend that are going to determine the 5 fittest teams. There are the Douala Rangers, 7th in the Southeast, 71st worldwide. Again, they were 9th here at the regionals a year ago, but a 26th place in Event 3. They had an injury on their team that tried to work through it. They don't have any quote-unquote superstars. They work very well as a team. They're out of Marietta, Georgia. And again, trying to make a move up the heat here. Started back in the pack, but have steadily come up to 3. Now here we go. Carolina CrossFit will be the first of the handstand obstacle.
This is when you want to send your best handstand walk athletes first. They've been sitting around for several minutes, so they should be recovered. And just get them out there and almost like let your athletes watch them do it. There's something about having an athlete lead the charge. Get up the stairs, down the ramp, up the ramp, down the stairs, cross the finish line, and just give your team a little boost of confidence. Hey, we can do this, guys. This is not as hard as it seems. It's not as challenging as we're making it out to be.
Lane number 9 also has an athlete, Freaking CrossFit 2018. So Carolina and Freaking CrossFit up at the top. That's Freaking CrossFit on the right. That's Carolina on the forefront, the female coming up the ramp on the second handstand obstacle.
The last athlete to go. So let's keep that in mind. She just did a 25 overhead squats, 150 double unders, and just went unbroken on the handstand walk. That is mightily impressive what she just pulled off.
Just off to the left, the Douala Rangers have an athlete in as well. So you see the top of your screen, Freaking CrossFit 2018, Team Carolina, Douala Rangers, the 3 teams that have at least one athlete across. And we've talked about it. Interesting how the dynamic of this test, this event changes. You can be first by 2 minutes and all of a sudden be last once you get to the handstand obstacle.
It's a very simple question. Can you do the handstand walk course or not? If you can't, well, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed playing in the first event. We'll see you in event number 2. If you can, are you going to take the gamble of walking all the way across unbroken as we see right here? We just saw another athlete do it. It's like, there, what was the point of that? Have you ever done that before? No, then don't do it on the competition floor. Kick down, take a little bit of a break, kick right back up. All you did was waste time and waste energy.
Douala trying to be the event leader. They're trying to beat 13:52 from CrossFit Hype in the first heat. This is their last athlete. So Douala trying to come out of the gates hot if he can get both palms across and get across the finish mat, and there you go. The Douala Rangers, the new time to beat, unofficially 12:41.
That's a fast time just in heat number 2. But this is, I said before at the leadoff, this is what you should expect to see after 3 weeks. They released the events a week prior to regional starting. This is the 3rd weekend of regionals, so you're going to see more teams finish this event here.
One more athlete left here for Team Carolina CrossFit in the red and white. Red shorts, white tank top, their final male. That final male looks like Zach Taylor out of Columbia, South Carolina. So again, the Douala Rangers, 12:39 is going to be the new time to beat as they eclipsed Hype by over a minute, who finished in 13:52. Back to lane number 2. Here's Requisite Fitness, 9th in the Mid-Atlantic out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and CrossFit 215. Blue top, red shorts, back over to Carolina. Final male trying to maneuver this final handstand obstacle.
And that's just a lot of pressure coming through, especially when you're coming down those steps of how close you are, how challenging this thing can be.
Lane 2, Requisite Fitness, one more obstacle. Trying to accrue 709 total reps. Once you cross the finish line, both palms visibly through. So they come across. Team revamped. And Requisite Fitness is in. So Douala again at 12:39. Back to lane number 10, Spartanburg, a team that got an early lead in the overhead squats and double unders, but now trying to get one more athlete across in their final female.
And that's the hard part when you're looking at this event in particular. As I said before, it's a test of your individuals. Relays are just how fast can you go, can I go, and you go. We start getting those big teamwork ones, we'll start to see how these teams actually blend together as a group. But in this individual one, the problem is that if you can't do the handstand walk, then you handcuff the rest of your team.
Lanes 5 and 6, Team Iron Force on your left with the yellow tank top coming across in the army green shorts. That's CrossFit Laminin. So again, this is 5 and 6 as we focus in on CrossFit Laminin on your right now. Here comes Iron Force in the yellow tank top. Just getting stuck about midway up the ramp. Looks like Angela Cunningham on the left of your screen. And we're a little over a minute away from the time cap. Again, we check lane number 9, gray tank top, red shorts, Freaking CrossFit 2018. They are Pembroke Pines, Florida, and CrossFit Spartanburg now in the black tights. This is their final athlete, the female. That's Jackie Mims, 68th in the Masters Online qualifier. So one of your fitter masters worldwide.
I think one thing that's impressive is the number of teams that we only see out there working on the handstand walk. So we had over half the teams in heat number 2 finish this event.
That was Laminin on your left. The nearest Spartanburg on your right. just stalls out on the top of the obstacle. Less than 30 seconds remaining in this time cap. But Dwala is going to have the new time to beat. 12:39 for one heat remaining. The top 10 contenders here in the Atlantic. 10 seconds. That wraps up heat number 2, 12:39. And the new team to beat for CrossFit Dwala Rangers. Heat 3 is coming up from the Atlantic. Crowd continues to file in here in West Palm at the CrossFit Games Atlantic Regional. We move from the dirty south of Atlanta down here to the Atlantic coast. I'm Jeff Wright alongside Chase Ingram. We'll check in a little bit later with Amanda Krenz. And Chase, going to be a great competition. We have the 4-person teams this week and this year in the regionals, and one team that we don't have that could open up some spots, 12 Labors.
Yeah, 12 Labors, who's been a podium contender at the CrossFit Games, is no longer here. So as Tommy was saying, it opens up the door for a lot of teams this weekend coming into this third and final heat. Seoul is one of those, hustle hard, another one that could take the top one. That's going to be interesting. 3 weeks to practice. This should be a much faster event than we've seen in the first two.
Well, you mentioned 3 weeks of practice, and they need it for this test, this first event.
So we have a team relay style, 25 overhead squats, 150 double unders for every single athlete. Once they're done, they'll move into the handstand walk obstacle course. And what I'm looking for in week 3, you've had 3 weeks, including the prior week when these events were announced, to work on this. We should see some fast times this morning.
Let's take a look closer at this handstand obstacle we've seen for 2 weeks with Amanda Krenz.
The handstand obstacle is the most feared obstacle for a lot of the athletes here this weekend. They have had a couple extra weeks to practice, which has helped some of them, not all of them. Some of the athletes in the warm-up area said as individuals, they could complete this obstacle in their home gym, not necessarily on the same day though. That's what they have to do here today, and they're hoping adrenaline will help them accomplish that.
There's a look at CrossFit Krypton. Of course, they are very well known because of the Smiths, but trying to break through in the team competition.
Well, CrossFit Krypton, I mean, you're talking about Ben Smith's affiliate coming in. They have 3. The 3 brothers are competing, and they still have a team. That's very impressive. But the team I'm really looking at, your 2016 champs, Team Seoul. Are they going to take the place of 12 Labors this year?
Here we go, third heat of 3 in event number 1 here in the Atlantic in the West Palm Beach County Convention Center, and it's going to start off with the 25 overhead squats.
It is going to start off with the 25 overhead squats, and it should be fast, right? This is only 135 pounds. These guys should be racing through this. If you are all good at the handstand walk course, then we need to fly through it, but not so fast that you're going to get no reps. The overhead squats is very important. 25 is enough reps at these weights that you don't want to do any extra. As you move to the double unders, unbroken is fast. Fast isn't necessarily fast because you have the opportunity to miss too much. And then when you get to the handstand walk course, you're going to send your best athletes first and then let your later ones that maybe aren't as good to kind of see you do it, build some confidence, put them at the end.
Team Seoul, one of 2 teams from CrossFit Seoul, making the early move here in the lead, racing through the double unders. But you have said that you see balance here. You don't have to go so fast. Just be consistent and get through them.
Yes, I tell this all the time, is like you don't need to go fast to have fast times. An unbroken set of double unders for 150 reps should take less than about 90 seconds, maybe even quicker than that. But if you miss 2 or 3 times only, you're going to add like 10 to 15 seconds to that time. Do that 4 times for every team member, you've lost a minute total. So just stay smooth and relaxed and just get the work done. You got more important things laying ahead of you.
Charlie Curran out of CrossFit Krypton in the blue shirt right on the front of your screen. They're at Chesapeake, Virginia. And of course, they are one of the more well-known affiliates worldwide in CrossFit. But it's Seoul, Balance, and Prodigy Fit with more on Krypton. Let's hear again from Amanda Krenz.
CrossFit Krypton is in a unique situation for this regional competition. They have a new athlete on their team as of 2 days ago. He is the alternate. His name's Clayton Kennedy. You're going to see him come on the floor in a little bit. Right now, he's at the back of the line. He's the redhead. He happens to be Dane Smith's best friend. He said he's ready now to get out of Dane's shadow and compete and do really well here at this weekend regional. The problem for them is that they're a little bit worried about synchronization and things like that because he hasn't been practicing with the other 3 team members.
Thanks a lot, Amanda. Well, Chase, you've had teams at your affiliate before, and you always tell that alternate, be ready. You never know. All of a sudden, he's called into action here and talking about getting out of Dane's shadow. He's got a lot of Smiths to move up the ladder with.
I know. It's like, okay, you get out of Dane Smith's shadow, welcome to Alex Smith's shadow. You get out of Alex Smith's shadow, welcome to Ben Smith's shadow. And then good luck getting out of that one.
There you go. It's CrossFit Soul, your leader, the female in the black tank top with the yellow writing on the set of overhead squats. And overhead squats, Chase, it's not always how much you can squat, how's the technique. If you can get in that rhythm, get into that piston rhythm, that is what gets you through the overhead squats.
And, I mean, positioning is everything when you're doing overhead squats, especially when you're doing fast overhead squats. And moving on to the double unders, I like the pace, maybe picking their heels up a little too quick. But, only 2-3 teams now in that position that she's in. What you want to make sure of is just stay relaxed with your shoulders. You don't need to tense up when you do double unders.
Again, Soul leading the way here in lane number 6. Again, 1 of 2 teams from CrossFit Soul in Miami, Florida. They were very good. Soul has been in the regionals, whether it's been 1 or 2 teams. They had a games team a couple of years ago. Of course, the 4-person team, the makeups of these teams will be different than their veteran teams in the past.
I think they'll be different, but I think they'll be better. You had 3 individuals decline an invite to regionals to go team. So Team Soul, they really blew up on the scene in 2016. Now with 12 Labors out of the picture, they could be carrying that kind of Atlantic regional flag moving into the CrossFit Games. Now, we're 4 minutes into a very long weekend, so we'll have to see what happens. But I'll be curious to see what teams can stand up to Seoul being the front runners in this regional.
We've seen it in the prior 2 weeks in event number 1 in this first test that this is kind of the funsy part, get your heart rate up. It's all fun to be the leaders here, but we're looking at kind of the move along half of this competition field. There's still a lot looming in the back of their heads.
It is the fun part. I mean, if we can be completely honest, the first part of this event isn't very hard at all. It's only 25 overhead squats and 150 double unders. I think the weight could be a little heavier to challenge these guys a little bit more. I mean, it is good. You see some people struggle, but not many. Seoul, they were done right around 4:30, and we were talking, teams that have. We should see event records in this regional all weekend long, especially when you look at things like a handstand walk course being the major crux of this event. Whereas you've had time to practice, you've had time to work together as a team, you know what the events have been for 3 weeks, so we should see less mistakes and more event records.
Here we go, your leader, Team Seoul. You talked about event records. Jwala kind of flirted around a little bit, broke up the handstand obstacle, which was the smart play. The event record, 12:09 back in the West from Code 3 San Diego is what everyone will chase as far as an event record, but the Jwala Rangers did very well at 12:39 today. It's Solo on the left, that's first place. There's Balance and Reignited Wilmington, second and third on the right. Again, Soul is the black shirt on your right doing the double unders. And again, on the left is second and third. So Soul continues to lead. They've got a couple of, one female athlete, as you see in the background. They have to get all 4 athletes through before they get on to the handstand obstacles. But Soul, Balance, and Reignited Wilmington, your top 3. Balance in the red top on the screen to your left, Reignited Wilmington in the all black on the far left. And there's the final female remaining for CrossFit Team Seoul. That is Daniel Lopez, a games team veteran. She has been here before.
I mean, talking an event record pace, and they were about 30 seconds below event record pace. That can all change when you get to the handstand walk course. Like you can be ahead of the event record by 3.5 minutes after the first half of this, but if you can't walk on your hands, it doesn't matter.
So for Seoul right now, that's Todd Smith. He's been on the games team back in 2016 when they finished 11th. All right, so you've got 2 males, 1 female. Here comes the final female, jogging up Danielle Lopez, one of the veterans from their 2016 Games team.
Extending their pace lead on the event record to about 45 seconds.
And you'll see Team Seoul at the top of your screen, and the number or the amount of reps they have to complete 709 total reps once they cross the finish line on the mat. For the first part of this test, though, they are seeking 700 reps. That is when they will then get onto the handstand obstacle. So still about 160 away, including the overheads and the double unders.
That's been almost a minute since Team Seoul's final athlete has moved into the overhead squats, as we have 2 more teams finally meeting up with them on the competition floor for these last 25 overhead squats.
Final female athletes for balance in the green top on your right, Reignited Wilmington in the pink top on your left. That's 2 and 3 as they switch positions. And again, your leader on the right in Team Seoul, who has now less than 150 reps to go, all double unders. These should go quickly.
That's a good positioning. You look at the right side of your screen with that. Looks like she's very relaxed. Enjoy looking at the shoulders, just turning from the wrist, bouncing on the balls of her feet. That's what you want to see when an athlete is proficient at double unders.
Reignited Wilmington on the left in the pink top. They go into second place as balance. In the green top, now in third, trying to wrap up the overhead squats, and she's got more than 5 reps remaining. No, she doesn't. The hand was up. So now she'll have some ground to make up. That's balance in the green, Reignited Wilmington in the pink on the left. That's the battle for 2 and 3. But on the right side, far right of your screen, in the all-black, Team Seoul, a clear leader by about 75 double unders. And right now, Chase, ahead of event record pace. But again, this is a test where that can be very deceiving.
So event record, bottom left part of your screen, code 3, San Diego 1209. If you want to look at what pace you need to see them come off of to even be in contention, is 10:13. That's where code 3 was last weekend. Now, one thing that plays into their favor is that code 3 didn't win this or get the event record because of stellar handstand walks. Their first 2 athletes fell each time trying to go unbroken into the second course. So they do have some wiggle room, not just with the time they have. They should have about 30 to 35 seconds, so 33, so 40 seconds ahead of pace. You don't have to race through this if you want an event record. What you really need is 100 points to your team total. That's what's most important. Event records are cute. Event wins at your regional, that's the big payoff.
That's 100 points they'll be looking for, as the first male is across now for Team Seoul. That was Julian Cerna. They'll go with their second male here, Todd Smith. He was on that team in 2016.
Very smooth. That's the pace you'd like to see some. That's just confident handstand walking. You're not in a race, you're not stumbling around, your feet aren't touching the back of your head. Is that there's just a lot of control.
Now here's what you were talking about. They've got about 2 minutes, a little less than 2 minutes to complete this. So I think they're making a smart play here. Recover, get the shoulders back, especially if you're not so great at the handstand walk.
Well, let's take the event record out of the picture for a second at 12:09. And now let's look at 12:40 as the time to beat. Now what they're doing is that the first female athlete has been getting stretched out since she finished her leg of this event. Now they're doing the same thing together. And it looks like the final athlete is going to be the next one to go. And all that tells me is that someone can't do a handstand walk on this team, that or they're not very good at that. So they're both sitting back, and they might be a little bit nervous. Maybe there's 2 of them. That's the only reason I could possibly see, is that one needs a little bit of more rest, the athlete who just went last, or both of them are not good at this obstacle.
On the left side of your screen, that's CrossFit Reignited Wilmington. John Phoenix is the second male. They've got 2, so now here we go. If Reignited Wilmington has developed their skill as a team, 4 competent handstand walkers, they could blow past Team Seoul.
And it all comes down to this handstand walk course. Top right side of your screen is Seoul. 2 athletes left to go. This was the final one to do the overhead squats and 150 double unders. So the big question is, what is that last athlete capable of?
Well, That is Stephanie Simmons on the left of your screen for Reignited Wilmington. She gets the first one done. She will stop as she crosses the yellow line and break it up into 2 segments. The very smart play.
Here's the dangerous part. We've had over 8 teams finish this event already.
Lane 4, CrossFit Balance, who had dropped to 3rd in the red top, trying to finish it off. They're looking for the event win and 100 points, and they've got it. They are in. Lane number 4, CrossFit Balance, an event win of 100 big points.
Now make that 9 teams that had finished it. So, I said before, yeah, it's great. You were ahead of event record pace for 40 seconds, but what you also need to do is that if you aren't going to be good at this, you need to make sure you give your athletes a lot of time to possibly get across.
Brandy McGoldrick in the black tank top, looking at the yellow line out of training think tank Animus in Alpharetta, Georgia, at a CrossFit Passion. Her husband, Mike McGoldrick, a Games vet, also on this team. A year ago, they finished 6th, just 1 spot out of Madison, Wisconsin. And Brandy McGoldrick's across, and Training Think Tank is in 13:04. So they have finished this event. All you have to do is to finish this first event, and you already have a good position going into event 2 today.
A good position and a lot of confidence, right? This is the event that is making everybody nervous, because it doesn't matter how fit you are when you come into this event, when you have a handstand walk course like this. Doesn't matter how much you lift, how fast you run, how high skilled you are in gymnastics. If you can't do this obstacle, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter how fit you are. It matters in a big way for your team total points to start the day if you have 1 or 2 athletes that can't do this at all.
Well, steps or step, hustle hard on your right, Team Soul on your left. And it's going to be Hustle Hard who's going to edge out Team Soul. Team Soul first to get on those handstand walks, but Hustle Hard, another team will get in ahead. But now Soul's across, and there you go. They're just so excited. You know, you could tell, and you had mentioned it, stretching out the shoulders. It was a struggle, but they finished.
Okay, well, they finished like they just won the CrossFit Games, and here's why. I guarantee you those 2 athletes were more confident that they couldn't do that handstand walk than could do that handstand walk. So you're talking about damage control. Damage control, an event that they might have got a top 5 finish on when they didn't think they were going to finish. That's what that celebration was all about.
Lane 1, CrossFit Krypton, the blue tank top. In the middle lane is Prodigy Fit white shorts. And on the right side, the black shorts blue top is CrossFit Reignited Wilmington. Lanes 1, 2, and 3, as they have about a little over 2 minutes remaining here in the 17-minute time cap. Now 2 minutes remaining in lane 10, CrossFit Bound, who jumped out quickly in this event.
You know, it's a tough feeling to be out there in the middle of the floor, kind of all by yourself, the last one, trying to finish for your team. You know, that's a tough position to be in. The one thing you don't want to see an athlete do is fail and then rush back into it one more time. And, you know, this athlete got to the first step, failed, went up, got to the second step, failed again. You have plenty of time, 90 seconds. It only takes about 15 or 20 seconds to get through one part of this. I would say at the longest. And some of that you see is, she went right back up. You're going to get fatigued. The problem about these steps is that requires so much strength as opposed to the ramp, which is more about stability. Right? And I think sometimes is that you'll see athletes move their hands too quickly because they're not confident in their balance position. So they feel like if they move their hands up faster, they're going to get into a better position, when it's actually quite the opposite. Right? You want to move your feet first. Right? Walk with your feet even though you're on your hands. So send the heels over, lean into that ramp a little bit more, and then make sure you're balanced with both hands. What you see this athlete's doing is that, you know, she's probably right-handed because she moves the right hand a little bit further than the left, or she has just one stronger shoulder than the other. Like, look as she gets up, right hand confident, left hand fall.
Colleen Schweers are out of Prodigy CrossFit in Essex, Maryland. And again, 15 seconds remaining.
Danielle Siddell one of the better individual athletes on this team for raw training. But one thing you've always seen with her is that high skill gymnastics, handstand walks, things like that have given her trouble.
That will cap everyone out in test number 1. There's CrossFit Balance, your winners, and really played it well.
I mean, if we can play off the name a little bit, you had balance across the board. How they handle the overhead squats and the handstand walk course. But it was all Team Seoul out of the beginning, and there's a lot of confidence with these guys as they're coming through it. But then you have your 2 female athletes sat there for almost 2 minutes, stretching their shoulders out and just fearful of the handstand walk course. And here comes Team Balance. Over, finishing first. Like I said, it's not about the first part, it's all about the second part.
Unofficial event winners, they have 100 points in the bank with an unofficial time of 12:20.20, and they are with Amanda Krenz.
You guys have seen athletes fail on the handstand walk in previous regional competitions. What did you learn from their mistakes?
I mean, we knew this was going to be a tough event. And we just kept drilling this as hard as we possibly could, trying to keep up with these 2 former gymnasts. Craig and I we just gave it our all out there, didn't know what to expect, just kept trying.
This is only event 1, but what expectations do you have for this team moving forward?
We're going to take it one event at a time. You can't look towards Sunday yet. You got to take it event 2 now.
Do you feel like you guys are a well-rounded team, or that any weaknesses are going to be exposed this weekend?
Besides John's sugar habits, we have no weakness.
Great job out there.
Thank you.
CrossFit Balance, your event winner, 100 points going into event number 2 later today. And again, Seoul got the other lead, but Balance is the one that finished things up. Well, one event is done. We have one more event left for the teams here in the Atlantic Regionals. Stay here in West Palm Beach.
You can see they're already underway. It's going to start off with a 200-meter run on the Assault Air Runner. You see our first pairs off and moving on that. 25 synchro chest-to-bar pull-ups. Now, these are 2 pairs going at it, so once our first team's done on the runner and their teammates are done on the synchro pull-ups, they're going to swap and finish up before heading out to the worm. And when they get to the worm, as a team, 10 worm clean and push presses. Those worm clean push presses will be broken down by 5s. You can see those 5s on the floor. They'll do 5 in the first section of blocks. They'll advance the worm forward, do 5 in the second section, then advance it forward into the next round of 5 and 5. And here we go. Got an exchange happening down in lane number 9, West Chase. Hype in lane number 6, swapping. CrossFit West Chase going to work on a quick set of 5 butterfly pull-ups for the ladies. And again, folks, you can see the pairs broken down however the best suits the team. Either going to have a pair of guys, a pair of females, or a mixed pair. Coming up on the 2-minute mark, we're approaching 150. And again, you heard him talk about on the update show, Sam Farber telling you that the top time in this event coming out of a CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, 15:33, the top time in just literally a handful of teams. Up until this weekend, only 9 out of 150 teams finishing this event in the first 2 weeks. And we see our first 2 teams heading out to the worm. That is going to be West Chase and PR Star, both going up and over nearly the same time. So that's going to be your 1 and 2. And it's going to be West Chase with about a half a rep lead. PR Star looking to get it up and moving. Takes a little time to get that synchronization back on the worm movements. Man, Gamma Lemma Ding Dongs looking strong on their first rep. Excellent teamwork for all the crews thus far. And it's going to be CrossFit West Chase advancing first. CrossFit West Chase out of Tampa. PR Star moving forward as well. They're out of Chantilly, Virginia. So it is going to be West Chase 1, PR Star 2. Followed by the Gamma Lemma Ding Dongs. That's going to be your 1, 2, and 3. CrossFit Hype walking forward. RDU also moving forward. As well as SMCF. But again, CrossFit West Chase, your leaders, but now it's going to be PR Star advancing into the next round. PR Star in the lead. And folks, if you haven't figured out, those worms have to stay within the boundaries of that particular lane and that particular round that they are in. So if you see them having to move that worm back or forward, it's to make sure they are staying in bounds as we pass the 4-minute and 10-second mark on our clock. Against 4 rounds of this. That is round 1 complete, and 3 rounds, or correction, 3 teams, and make that 4 teams now. Into round 2. The rest of the team starting to advance. We're at CrossFit West Chase, PR Star. Duking it out for first. Gamma Lemma Ding Dongs in green in lane number 3. Those teams, all those teams doing an outstanding job. Coming up about 5 minutes. T2 CrossFit advancing. The fellows from West Chase done on the synchros, looking for the ladies to finish up. And they'll exchange. The guys will go back to the air runners, and the ladies will take their position on the pull-up rig. And they'll go right to work on their chest bars. Again, this is heat number 1, folks. Event number 2, brought to you by Rock Tape. If you're just walking in, welcome to the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games Atlantic Regional, presented by Zevia. Appreciate you guys coming out on this Friday morning, our first day of competition, day 1 here in the Atlantic. Our second event for our team athletes. .6:15 on the clock. Gamma Lemma Ding Dongs have transitioned down in lane number 3. The ladies of West Chase rocking their way through their chest-to-bar pull-ups. CrossFit Seoul Miami in transition, but here comes PR Star putting themselves in the lead. West Chase on the hop, making their way out to the worm for round number 2. And again, one of these teams will set the time to beat here in event number 2. Just past 7 minutes on the clock. Again, PR Star and West Chase. Only about 1 rep separating them. That's quite the rep, though. It is a worm clean and push press. Gamma Lemma Ding Dongs on the way out. CrossFit Hype right behind them. The Gamma Lemma Ding Dong crew in lane number 3 going to get the worm moving first, putting themselves in third, but CrossFit Hype really right behind them, only about a half rep. PR Star dumping the worm, taking a bit of a respite. Is that going to open up a seam for West Chase to retake the lead? Eight minutes in. Hype advancing forward. PR Star hoisting that worm, going back over here for their final rep, but it is going to be West Chase leading the way. West Chase regaining the lead as they head back to dive into round number 3. Eight minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Gamalama Ding Dong dumps the worm, and they will head back to the rig to begin round number 3. So it is going to go West Chase 1, PR Star 2, Gamalama Ding Dong 3. CrossFit Hype heading back as well. Sable Park working on round number 3. Nine minutes and 40 seconds elapsed. Again, one of these teams going to set the time to beat. Event record set by CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, 15:33. Now CrossFit West Chase in lane number 9 went back to the rig in the lead. PR Star just behind them as they headed back to kick off round number 3. We'll see how this shakes up as they finish up that next 200-meter run and 25 synchro chest to bar pull-ups. Ten minutes and 50 seconds elapsed. 17-minute time gap in place, coming up on 11 minutes. Remember, folks, in week number 1 and 2, only a combination of 9 teams finishing event number 2 out of 150 teams. So finishing this event regardless of your time, a huge feather in your cap for your team and your affiliate. Coming up to 11 minutes and 30 seconds, West Chase making their way from the rig back out to the worm in the lead. PR Star will tag up. Been saying those two team names quite a bit here in heat number 1. These teams doing some solid work. West Chase in lane number 9, the fellas in the white shirts, the ladies in the gray tanks. They'll have 1 rep in. PR Star, the whole team clad in their gray shirts with the big star on their right sides and black shorts. They're easy to spot. They're duking it out, fighting for that top spot. About a 1 rep lead for CrossFit West Chase. 12:12 on the time clock. A clear-cut battle for first. And it looks like Sable Park down in lane number 10. And Gamalama Ding Dongs in lane number 3. Gonna be duking it out for 3rd place. CrossFit Hype in the mix as well. 12:37 again. West Chase PR Star fighting for the first place spot going into our final round. One more round to go. And folks, we are at 13 minutes on our time clock. 4 minutes to go, 4 minutes remaining in our 17-minute time cap. Gamalama Ding Dongs moving into the back half of these 10 worm clean and push presses. But it is going to be West Chase advancing forward. They will dump their worm and they will head back to the rig. PR Star will do the same. Just how we wrapped up round number 2. Did PR Star keep anything in the tank to hit the gas here in round number 4 and pull ahead of CrossFit West Chase? West Chase going to work on both sides of the field. The ladies taking off on the run. The fellas rolling through their butterfly chest to bar pull-ups. Going about 14 minutes. Less than 3 minutes to go. Our lead team's back at the rig doing work, and it is going to be Sable Park putting themselves in third. Gamalama Ding Dong right behind them, though. Both of those crews heading back to the rig, passing RDU and SMCF. 14:30 on the time clock. Atlantic Regional, will we see a team finish this event here in heat number 1? Either way, the teams here setting the times to beat or scores to beat for our remaining heats of competitors coming up on the 15-minute mark. 2 minutes, athletes, 2 minutes remaining. West Chase turning it over. The fellas heading back to the runners. The ladies moving forward for their chest to bar. PR Star now swapping it up. So they are a few reps behind West Chase with 15 minutes and 30 seconds elapsed. A minute and a half remaining. Rapidly approaching the 16-minute mark. That event record time will stand. And we have 60 seconds, athletes, 1 minute. Keep an eye on our lead 2 teams. Will we see them back out on the worm? And if we do, how many reps are we going to get? Coming up on the 30-second mark. Teams, you have 30 seconds. Hand in the air for one of the squads out there. Hype looking to finish up on their pull-ups. Hand in the air for West Chase with 20 seconds to go. 1 rep on that worm could make all the difference in the standings going into day number 2. And here they come. They're sprinting it out. How many reps can they get with 10 seconds remaining? Make some noise, West Palm. Let's cheer them on. We're going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. And it looks like they're going to score 1 rep just before time expires. So they will take the heat and they will set the score to beat going into heat number 2 of event 2.
Let's take a look at how they're going to line up here in heat number 2 of event number 2. And Iron Force, Laminin, Douala, Athletics. Those are the higher seeds here.
Oh, you saw some of these teams finish actually very well in the first event, handling that handstand walk obstacle. Nice, but what we got past the hard thing, whether you can or can't do it. Now it's about getting the team together.
Here we go. We start heat 2 of event number 2. So while a pair is on the assault runner, a pair 25 synchronized chest to bar pull-ups.
What you're looking at right off the bat is that which part has more weight than the other in terms of what's more important, and you want to make sure is that you rest on your run. You don't need to sprint here because you do want your athletes on the synchronized pull-ups to stay together. This event starts round 3. Pace out the first 2. You're going to have enough energy to just do the work. Get the work done, stay together, get to the 3rd round, and then hammer down. When I say stay together, you're like, well, that's obvious. Synchronized chest bar pull-ups, they're supposed to. It's not what I mean. In the 3rd round, when things are at their toughest, you're fatigued, you're tired, you're getting a little cranky, maybe you had some few no reps. Stay together as a team when things start stacking up against you.
Take a look across the rig here, and they're a pair in a nice synchronization on the left of the white shorts and the multicolored shorts. In lane number 5, that is Team Iron Force in the white shirts. Next to them in lane number 6, the army green shorts and no shirts, CrossFit Laminin on the right side of your screen. And the far left will be CrossFit Athletics in the all black.
The team's transitioning. It takes about a minute, a little bit over, to get through that 200-meter run on the assault runner. So what does that tell you to your athletes doing chest bar pull-ups? You don't need to go big sets if you aren't big set athletes. I say this a lot of times, like, don't pretend to be someone you're not, especially when you're with a partner. Sets of 5, sets of 3s, even if it's like 10, 8, 7, whatever it is, fit it to your skill set, not necessarily the challenge. Look here, this is perfect. Look at Iron Horse in the back. Look at the guys walking because they're doing strict chest to bar pull-ups. I've actually never, I didn't even think I would have to talk about something like this. Watch this. Underhand grab. In fact, that's illegal. You can't jump up there with your arms bent, but, you know, that could tell you that, you know, see you're grabbing her shoulder, that tells you something's a little bit wrong together. So this might be their damage control event. So we'll have to see if she's okay, but, you know, play to the card, you know, play the hand with the cards that you're dealt. I guess that's the situation that's happening.
Well, the male in the back, pretty smart, just walking. He knows it's going to be a while they do this pull-up, so no need to be in any sort of a hurry. Keep that heart rate down. Bottom of your screen here in lane number 1, that's Team Ridgeline. First team on the worm. Lane 3 is going to be revamped in the black tops. And up at the top of your screen in lane number 9, freaking CrossFit 2018 right now in 3rd. But lane 1, here we go, Ridgeline, that army green top and the gray shorts.
Oh, and just had a no rep, and what we're looking at is that worm will start on one side. We'll have to get it from one shoulder to the other and then drop it off to the other side. They have to stay synced on the receiving position on the other side. So yeah, we might be out of sync on the shoulder, but as long as they come together on the other side, that's what they're looking at.
Back to lane 3, and that is lane 5, Iron Force just struggling there, just trying to grind through this.
Yeah, that's to me, is there's something physically wrong. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to exactly tell you what's going on, but you're holding your arm like that, you're keeping it close to the chest. I mean, that's a broken wing. I mean, you think about it, it's classic, just, you know, something's up with the shoulder. It could have been in training. Been there myself. I know exactly what that feels like. And you know, be curious is coming in is like, when did this happen? Did this happen before the competition started, or did this happen this morning when you were warming up?
The Ridgeline moving along, 60 reps into this. Take a look at event 2. 10 of the 215 teams have completed the event. So we saw in event 1, very few teams had finished. Even fewer so far have finished event number 2. So Dave Castro has put together, Chase, 2 very, very challenging events. It's not like just get your feet wet on day 1 and just kind of get your heart rate up, and then we'll really roll the next 2 days. He slammed them pretty hard on day 1.
Well, I would say 2 different types of challenges. To your point, is that event 1 challenge was the physical test that was the handstand walk course, right? How do you evolve and adapt with an odd object thrown at you? You know, and that's what you want to see at the most elite level from CrossFit athletes, is how they adapt and overcome. That's the idea. You think about these tests as a constantly moving target that they're trying to hit. It's not a static type event. That's the beauty of CrossFit. It's like, oh, I was really great last year. Well, that doesn't matter because the events are going to change again this year. The test in event number 2 is every single person is doing 100 chest to bar pull-ups. 100 chest to bar pull-ups. Oh, keep in mind is they got to do it together.
Here is Jawala, and Jawala trying to get into that top heat tomorrow. They came through with a second place finish in event number 1. It was a team that was in heat 2 coming in today, but we knew by their history a year ago they could be a competitor this season.
And it all shakes out as like, you did the important part. You got here through the open, and now how are you guys going to handle the big stage again that I don't think they handled too well last year?
It's already 94 points in the bag from event number 1. Trying to move into heat number 3 tomorrow. Back to your current Team Ridgeline in lane number 1. They have been up front so far. They're right now trailing Douala by 5 reps as you take a look at the rep counter at the top of your screen.
I like is the way they're staying together. And the fun part about this event is that there's no prerequisite on how you do them together. Lane 1, guy, girl. Lane 2, guy, guy. Lane over there, it's another guy, girl. We see girl, girl as well. So what it is who fits together the best? Is it 2 athletes that are really good at chest bar pull-ups or not?
Looking for 120 reps here as we go back to lane number 6, CrossFit Laminin. Laminen's been up top. They're out of Birmingham, Alabama. Now starting to manage these, Chase. You talked about it early when we started this event. You have to manage once you get into 2 and 3, the second and the third round. If you can do 10 in a row, might not be a good idea to do 10 in a row.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you're managing round 2, but is it because of what you couldn't manage in round 1 or that you didn't?
Here comes Douala, your leaders in their second place overall through one event with 94 points. Now as you watch the clean and push press, as we'll see Team Ridgeline make their way to the worm. Have to make a very specific distinction, and they covered it in the athlete briefing today, and they've done it all 3 weeks. It is a push press. If you dip under it, it is a jerk.
Yeah, and I think really it's just as long as, like I said before, it starts on one side, gets over the shoulder, and it finishes locked out on the other, that's fine. You know, it's just a weird way to describe this. It's like, look, put it on one side and get it onto the other. That's just a little bit too long to put, I think, in an event description.
All right side is Douala in the army green and the blue shorts, your current leader in second place overall through one event. Left side, Team Ridgeline, who is tied with Laminin for second here in the event. Now moves up to second, about 3 to 4 reps behind Douala. And again, the Douala Rangers looking for 120 reps. That will put them through round 2. We have 241 total reps. The 1 and 241 is once you finish on the mat. So basically halfway through now at 120 reps. As you see, Douala jog back at the top of your screen in the blue lane.
When they're on pace so far to be able to finish this event, we have not seen very many teams in any regional finish this event. In fact, coming in, it was only 9 of 150. So we thought we had a few in event number 1, 30 out of 150. Just 9 teams have finished event number 2. That's why I say the third round is so important. If teams aren't finishing this event, then your goal is to get to the third round as quickly as you can, but not set yourself back having nothing for round 3. Third round is the round to just really hammer down, and just whatever you got left in the fourth, give it. But third round is the most important one.
Douala here in round number 3, and this is the gut check round you talked about where fatigue really sets in, and this becomes the mental game.
And it is, and it's, are you communicating as a team? And this is what I said when I say stay together. It's really easy to be happy-go-lucky staying together when you're fresh, but now look in lane 1, getting out of sync. Why did she do 1 extra rep and you stopped? Did you even tell your partner what you guys are going to do? Is it 3 or is it 5? Do I need to break up? So right side of the screen, 3, 4, 5. So you're looking at, okay, we're going to do 5 sets of 5. Left side, I'm going to drop and you're still going. Talk to each other. I don't care if your game plan was 5s coming in. It's not working anymore. Why is one person doing 1 more pull-up than the other? I'd be pissed if I had to do 30 chest to bar pull-ups while you're only doing 25.
Douala on your right, your current leader, and Ridgeline on your left, currently in third. But if they keep staying out of sync, Chase, they're going to fall out of the top 3 here relatively soon.
Well, we saw the out of sync on the worm as well, and I think that's playing to Dwala's strengths, is on the right side of your screen as they switch partners, is that they were very in sync on the worm with communication. Left side of the screen, not so much with Ridgeline. They had 2 no reps on the last set of clean and jerks.
Dwala has less than 10 reps remaining on their pull-ups, looking for 170 reps on the rep counter at the top of your screen. Again, 241 will be the total amount of reps as they will switch up here, as their pairs will switch from the runner back to the pull-up bar. And that is lane 6, CrossFit Laminin now making a move out of Birmingham, Alabama.
This is maybe they've been kind of laying back just a little bit, waiting for that 3rd round to make their move.
Dwala on the right, first place. Laminin on the left, shirtless with the army green shorts. They are currently in 2nd, as now you've seen Ridgeline has fallen out of the top 3.
I think one thing you need to look at is, how many rests do we have done? Are we just waiting for the runner to finish this 200 on the right side? You can just see, and that's what the case is. Now you need to be eyeing the clock. What's the time cap? 17 minutes. Where are we at? We're at 11. Okay, we ain't finishing this event. So let's get these 10 done, get back to the runner and rig as fast as we can.
Well, they made the run right to the worm. They were not going to mess around here. They know they need to shorten the transitions.
I think that one thing is good for them is they're all relatively close in height. The pull off the floor is the same, that good pop over the shoulder. So there's not a lot of discrepancies in timing. That's the big issue here, is dropping the worm exactly where it needs to be. I think that's one thing people neglect to really focus on, is that it's not just throwing the worm onto the ground, because if it pops out of the lane, they have to spend time bringing it back in.
As you see, Laminin on the left now moving off of the assault runners, and they will jog toward the worm, trying to chase down Dwala. But right now, Dwala just really looks like they're in cruise control. They had a great plan coming into this event, it looks like. Dwala on your right, first place. Laminin on your left in 2nd place. They're now on the worm, clean, and jerks. Dwala on their 2nd set of 5.
They say they had a good plan coming in. You're exactly right. And what you should have the 3rd regional weekend is you should have a perfect plan. You have your team set. They should have been picked 3 weeks ago once the events came out. Now you've been practicing these events over and over and over. The event record set by Mayhem was done in smooth, steady singles on the worm. So you don't need to panic here. You just need to stay together.
Well, Dwala done at 12:36 through round number 3, and here comes round number 4 for the Dwala Rangers out of Marietta, Georgia. Again, a cap +9, as you saw, was the time to beat through one heat. We have a 17-minute time cap, so 4 minutes remaining here in heat number 2. And the Dwala Rangers still continue to look just smooth and steady in first place on the synchro chest to bar pull-ups.
Again, 4 minutes left until that 17-minute cap. Make sure we can get to your 2nd pair as quickly as we can. This is the last round of chest to bar pull-ups.
And as you talked about earlier, Mayhem Freedom, 15:33.70 a week ago in the Central in Nashville. There goes the Laminin, shirtless, walking back to the left toward the rig, and in lane number 4 making their way up was CrossFit Athletics in the all black to start their 3rd round of worm, clean, and jerks. But there are your leaders, the Dwala Rangers, on the right side of your screen.
And it's good. That's their pace. That works for them. 5 sets of 5. Take a little bit more breather as the rounds continue on. But we want to make sure is one thing to look for, too, is what are you 2 athletes doing behind you? Where are you guys at? In my breaks, I'm going to turn around and ask them, how much further you got to go? 50 meters? I'm going to chill. It's only going to take me 5 seconds to do the pull-ups.
1 and 2. Dwala on the right, Laminin on the left. And Laminin now here in round 4, taking a little bit of extended break just to make sure they can stay synchronized. And again, you're trying to do the best you can in the event, but you've got to take a look at the long picture. You still have 400 points following today. This is just 2 of the first 6 tests we're going to see this weekend.
Now the 2nd pairing on the right side, you see Dwala ripped off a very big set of chest to bar pull-ups, and I think that's reasonable to ask. They've been on the assault runner for well over a minute, so they're a bit more fresh to the rig. than their first pair is.
Ridgeline creeping back up into the top 3 on the left of your screen. They were one of the top 3 for a while, but their last round, round number 3, they really labored on the synchro chest to bar pull-up, staying synced up and on the same page. They look like they've got that worked out a little bit. They've made their way back up into the top 3.
Well, that's what can happen, and I was talking, I say stay together a lot, but that's what I mean is that when, one teammate is starting to suffer or fall off the wagon a little bit, it's okay to deviate from the plan coming in.
Again, it has been Douala. They took it early, and they've maintained the lead. Ridgeline and Laminin have switched spots several times, and right now Laminin with about a 12-rep lead in second place, as the Douala Rangers currently in first as they wait for their runners.
They had 2 or 3 very big sets of pull-ups done, and man, they're in position to possibly finish underneath this cap. It's going to be tough. I think the fastest split we saw from Mayhem was right around 1:28 to get the last set done.
Get a cap +9. You see the time to beat. So they just need to get 2 of these. 3 of them, because the rep on the mat counts as well. They've got less than a minute to complete this. 2:41 is the total rep count once you get on the mat.
Just make sure you just stay as consistent as you had the first 3 rounds. There's a reason why you're in this position. Don't try to do more than you're supposed to do. Do your job and just keep getting as many reps as you can in the time you have left.
Need 5 reps in 30 seconds and get onto the mat. Trying to be the first team here in the Atlantic to finish. "15 seconds left.
That's when you see, right? One person tries to do a little bit more than the others are ready to do. Everyone's got to be ready to go.
That should give them the time to beat, but they will not finish. Well, they'll cap out, but they should have the new time to beat unofficially. The Douala Rangers, who got 94 points earlier today in Event 1 with a second-place finish, will right now be the time to beat. That is the end of heat number 2. Heat number 3 is coming up from West Palm.
So the score to beat is they take a little cat nap on the finish mat. 8 worm, clean, and push press.
We have 1 heat remaining in event number 2 on day 1 of the CrossFit Games Atlantic Regional in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm Jeff Brywood alongside Chase Ingram. We'll hear in a few moments from Amanda Krenz on the competition floor. We've seen 2 teams start out here in 2 very tough tests. Event 2 is going to be great.
Oh, we got lots of reps, lots of fitness, and lots of toughness here at the end for event number 2. 4 rounds. Pairs will be switching off between a 200-meter run, 25 synchro chest to bar pull-ups with those 10 worm clean push presses at the end of each round. Time cap 17 minutes. No one's finished yet, but I feel like we got a couple teams that will finish this one in heat 3.
A little bit different worm this year, with more on that is Amanda Krenz.
Only 4 athletes on a team this year, so these worms are shorter. Let's take a look at how they compare to previous years. In 2017, this was a 17-foot long worm, weighed in at 435 pounds total. Athletes were lifting individual sections that weighed between 55 and 80 pounds. Now, this year, in 2018, it's 11 feet long. It weighs 358 pounds total. Athletes are lifting heavier sections, though, that weigh between 70 and 100 pounds apiece. Heaviest parts in the front, that's the 100-pounder.
That is a look at that 4-person worm, and here is how they are going to line up Balance with 100 points already in their pocket.
Yep, well, Balance had a great performance. Everyone getting through the handstand walk course with ease. You know, I think the shirts might have had something to do with that, but Raw Training, a team we've seen as one of the top teams in this region before. Not the finish that they wanted in event number 1, but we'll see how they make it up for here in event number 2.
Underway, final heat of day 1 of the Atlantic Regionals. They'll start off on the air runners and the pairs on to the synchro chest to bar pull-ups.
When you're starting this off, there's no reason to come out too fast, especially on the runner. In between the heats as the rounds go, just try to relax there. The event starts round 3, and that doesn't mean slack off in 1 and 2, but don't try to win it. in 1 and 2. What's going to happen in round 3? Things are going to go wrong. You're going to get no reps. You're going to drop the worm. Something will happen. That's when the team needs to stay together. Keep your head in the game in the last 2 rounds.
Lane 8 is Hustle Hard CrossFit, one of our Games veteran teams, 23rd a season ago in Madison.
And what the benefit for that is that having experience and veterans on the team plays such huge dividends when you move to the, I would say, the second half of the round, which is those 10 worm clean and push presses. Having experience with that is huge when it comes to worm events.
So Soul, Crucible, Balance, the early top 3. A long way to go as you take a look at Raw Training in the blue tops. 4-time CrossFit Games affiliate teams, competitors trying to get back there for the first time in several years.
Now, I'll probably see a lot of these teams coming off around 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Like the way Soul does the chest to bar pull-ups, they are on the same page. Both, not just one athlete checking out the other to make your synchronized, or you've got the amount of reps, both watching each other.
And that's interesting. I think a lot of times what you'll probably have an athlete do is that the one who's better at chest to bar pull-ups, keep an eye on the other one. What I would tell the other one is, like, you do you, this person will follow your lead. So if they're both kind of worrying about each other, I think, you know, they can try to get out of sync a little bit. So I would say, look, you do your pull-ups, and the better athlete, you focus on them.
Soul, Raw Training, and CrossFit Balance. There you go. That's Soul on the right in the gray tops. In the blue is Raw Training, and CrossFit Balance off to the left. That is the top 3 right now. Soul, Training, and Balance from right to left. So here we go. It's Balance on the left side of your screen. They'll get on to the worm, clean, and push presses. Middle of your screen is Raw Training in the blue top, and now here comes Team Soul on the right.
I don't understand. And Balance, who's in lane 4, got a no rep right off the start, and I don't even know where that came from. So they're already a rep behind. But and I'll say to their point that I don't know why they got the no rep. It didn't make any sense.
Here is Team Soul with more on Team Soul as Amanda Krenz.
I just talked to this team in the warm-up area before the event. They are ecstatic right now, you guys, because they are building on the momentum from event 1. They had never, as a team, all completed that handstand obstacle before. They surprised themselves by all doing it today. They say they are going to cruise throughout the rest of this competition. Their confidence is very high, and they've been training as a team since before the Open, guys.
Thank you very much, Amanda. We'll chase you. You had it pegged earlier today in event number 1. They looked like they won the CrossFit Games when they finished that event.
And, you know, nobody celebrates a 5th place finish like they did. So I think to Amanda's, what her point was, is, you know, they got through the hard event, which they didn't think they were going to actually be able to do. So moving forward now, it is about staying together as a team, how fit you guys are, how tough y'all are, instead of something you can or can't do.
Soul already back on the runner, and there went Balance. And here comes Raw Training in the blue tops. They'll make their way back. That's their top 3. Soul, Balance, and now Balance takes a lead on Soul. So you see Balance on the left side. They're taking their breather, and there's Soul on the right in the gray tops. That's Raw Training in the middle and the blue tops.
What I like to see is a lot of different things going on. Balance on the left side. They're using their 2 females together. They're almost prototypes, right? Little clones of each other. Perfect size, perfect setup to do synchronized chest to bar pull-ups together. On the right side, you have Team Soul. They're doing the mixed gendered pairs, yet you see a lot of similarities. Look at the arm length of the 2 athletes on the right. Very similar. So it's not just about height. It's about just kind of like anatomical advantages between teammates when it comes to things like synchronized chest to bar pull-ups or synchronized deadlifts that we'll see tomorrow.
Well, Soul just kind of got a little off there, had to finish up that last rep. Check their judge on the right. Now they'll switch up. They've got 25 more. They will move up as well.
See both athletes looking at each other. I think what I would say as a coach is you got to be careful of turning your head too much. If you look slightly, they twist just a little bit at the bottom of the pull-up. Now we're doing things like butterfly where you're that sweeping motion. That little twist at the bottom, that's not the best thing you could do for at least your shoulders in the longevity of this event. And, you know, tilt your head to the side, but use your eyes to see. You can even feel them. Yeah, it's like you tell your high school buddies, and it's like, hey man, use your periffs, okay? don't just eyeball them.
Team Seoul with the 8-rep lead over Raw Training and Balance, and these teams will kind of switch back and forth in these chest-to-bar pull-ups as they come down, manage the rest. The next team jumps on. Right now, Raw Training ripping through them right in the middle of your screen. They have less than 5 reps remaining as the judge's hand goes up.
Look at the center lane in the blue with Raw Training. Look how wide that guy's arms are. It's because he's so tall relative to the girl he's doing pull-ups with. So what going wide does is that it shortens the levers a little bit. It brings in the range of motion. So that allows them to stay together a little bit easier.
Here comes Team Seoul again. They will have quick transitions. They jog right to the worm. They'll start their first 5 of 10 worm, clean, and presses.
Couple things to look at if you're just kind of seeing what the judges are looking for is staying within that box, that lateral side, the matting, everything needs to stay in, as well as the back and forth. If that end of the worm creeps behind that red line and they start, it'll be a no rep.
Seoul gets through them very quickly, and there is Balance in the middle in the blue shirts, and off to the left, well, Balance, on the far left, shirtless, and that's Raw Training in the blue shirts, but those are your top 3. Seoul on the right in the gray. They have about 4 reps remaining of the clean and press. And here's lane 4. CrossFit Balance now moves up. And Raw Training in between in the blue, currently in 3rd. We have some teams making a move in the distance, though. CrossFit Balance and Hustle Hard CrossFit. Seoul very, very smooth. Very smooth.
And very smooth is what we wanted to see. 7 minutes in. That's ahead of event record pace that Mayhem set last weekend in the Central Regional, but smooth for 2 rounds, and now what round are we moving into? The round of 3. You don't really need to do more than you've already done. You're on pace that you need to be. Just make sure that you stay on pace. So the effort will need to be greater just to maintain. You don't necessarily need to go harder physically.
So that's Team Seoul in the front of your screen. Get one of 2 teams from Seoul. And again, the blue tops, here's Raw Training currently in 3rd. If they can hold some of these other teams off, you see Balance in the background there on the left of your screen with the 2 females. They're on to their next set of 25 Shinko chest-to-bar pull-ups.
Yeah, Raw Training in the center lane in blue. Just everyone kind of seem to be on a different page. Everyone pulls at a different time off the floor. It push presses over their head, not in sync. This is where they're falling behind. They've got the athletes to do the work, but do they have the athletes together as a team to do the work?
So Raw Training makes their way back as you see Seoul taking a look. And that is the worm on the right side, and that's going to start round 3 once they get to that. And looks like in lane 10, CrossFit Bound starting to make a little bit of a move as they get back to their chest-to-bar pull-ups, as they're trying to track down at least Raw Training.
CrossFit Bound is a team name you should know very well here at the Atlantic Regional. This is a team that has experience at this level and experience at the games level. Now, they might not have all the same athletes on the team anymore, but they're still all in the same affiliate. That means knowledge from coaching and knowledge from past athletes.
All 4 of their members to the top 94 in the Southeast in the Open. In a 2-time games qualifier out of Kennesaw, Georgia. And currently they have passed Raw Training. Moving up into the top 3. Lane number 4, again, CrossFit Balance trying to track down Team Seoul, about 11 reps behind.
And they came out quick. They were the fastest ones off the first section in round number 1. And now the question need to be asked is, was that a little bit too quick? Maybe in the first round as Team Seoul is waiting for their pair to finish to move into that 3rd round of clean worm and push presses.
Meanwhile, your leader, Team Seoul, who finished 5th earlier today in event 1, waiting in the middle of your screen are the gray tops and the black bottoms. You talked about it earlier. They are in round 3. This is the gut check round. This is the mental round.
Absolutely, and you think about any type of 4 rounds or even like a 21-59, there's always a part of an event that has to have the gut check. You know, it's always easier. It's always easy to start, and it's easy to finish when something's on the line. It's the middle part, the limbo of the event, so to speak, is can you stay in it as a team and keep grinding through to get into that all-important 4th and final round.
There's balance on your left, waiting for their runners to finish up. And they will all come up together, and they're about 4 reps behind as far as the worm goes. And raw training nowhere to be seen in the middle. They were third for a while, but again, CrossFit Bound has taken that third place spot. Less than 5 reps remaining. Top of your screen for Seoul. And here's third place, CrossFit Bound. They have made a nice move. Seoul in the middle of your screen, back off to the left is CrossFit Balance in second place. About a 4 to 5 rep difference, and raw training starting to move back in the top 3 now. 17-minute time cap. The time to beat is a cap +2 we saw in heat number 2. Well, very few teams have finished this test, Chase, but Team Seoul looks very steady, very smooth, even through the mental gut check round.
I mean, think about getting 5th in an event that you didn't think you would actually complete. Oh, wow. Okay, so now we got house money coming into the next 5 events that they are extremely confident in. You know, Seoul has, on paper, the top athletes coming out of the Open that decided to go team. That's what Seoul's got working for them. Oh, by the way, experience. Games experience. That means worm experience. You got 3 events this weekend that include the worm. Those are 3 events that you already have an advantage on just because of your background as a team.
Team Seoul on the left is slowly pulling away because on the right side of your screen, you see raw training in the middle of the screen in the blue. Just toward the right, on the far right of that split screen is Balance. They are currently in second, but now 15 reps behind. Seoul's just eating up the reps on the chest to bar pull-ups.
Well, think about the chest to bar pull-ups relative to how long it takes to do a worm clean and push press. And the event record set by Mayhem, 1533.70 on the bottom left corner of your screen. They were done with the round of the third round at 11:25. Seoul was done at 11:05, so Seoul still has the edge on that event record currently.
Now they're right on pace. We'll see if they can beat Mayhem Freedom's 1533.70. Again, the rep counter at the top, we're looking for 241 total reps, and they have to get on that finish mat for the 241.
12:55 was the change off for Seoul. Top left corner of your screen. 12:55 was the change out from Mayhem last weekend, so they are dead on pace for that event record.
Second place in the heat right now. Off to your left, CrossFit Balance. The 2 females again on the left side, and again Seoul and the right side of the mixed pairs. They are currently in first place here in this heat.
And just a good synchro on the women's side for CrossFit Balance in lane number 4.
Well, you see raw training just making their way back to the rig. Again, as Bound has taken third place again, and raw training has dropped to 4th place overall here in this heat.
When you think about the transitions, raw training kind of just walking to the rig, head down, looking up at the ceiling, thinking that something magical was going to happen, like give you better chest to bar pull-ups, where Bound on the far side is like, look, we need to get to the rig now. We don't have a lot of time, and we got to get the work in. These are precious reps. No one's finished this event the first 2 heats. That's all that matters right now. So get as far as you can, as quick as you can. This is the last round. If you can hang on, hang on.
You talked about experience. Bound is taking that 3rd place spot when they get on the worm. Raw training seems to be taking it back at this section of the chest to bars and the assault runner. So if they get back to the worm, let's see if Bound can jump in for 3rd place. But more importantly, let's see if Team Seoul can keep up this pace and make a run at the event record. And here they come to the worm.
20 seconds off the pace set by Mayhem, moving to the worm, so they were dead on in the first transition for the run and pull-ups, and now they're 20 seconds behind.
They've got to go if they want an opportunity at it. They're sitting about 45 seconds away from getting in. Again, 15:33 from CrossFit Mayhem Freedom a week ago in Nashville as the event record. They'll do 5, walk it up. They've got 5 reps to go, and then they have to get on the mat. They've got just over 30 seconds to do it.
Now it's doable. You just got to be able to have quicker transitions from one shoulder to the other. Keep your hands on it, bend down, go again.
Seoul who finished the event earlier today for the first time, even in practice. They've got to get a couple of more reps here in less than 10 seconds, and they've got to sprint to that mat. Will they beat the chip timer? It's going to be close. We'll have to wait for the chip timer. 15:33.21. That should be the event record. It's unofficial, but they did it by fractions of a second. What a day one.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to bring this up, but I thought the athlete wearing the chip timer dove head first, and that's not what you want. Your head's not going to stop the clock, your ankle is. But we'll see what the official time to beat is, and that just shows you is that Mayhem faster on the chest to bars and runner, but what Soul did on the worm is what got them the best time today, at least.
Well, unofficially right now they've got the event record. They will have to verify everything, but right now at 15:33.21 beats Mayhem Freedom's 15:33.70. Now we are playing for points here on day one. Balance trying to stay ahead of Raw, training, and Bound to try to get 94 points.
I think, Balance has done a great job on the rig side with the pull-ups and runners. They've been a bit slower on the worm than the other teams, and I think that's just more technique related. These guys aren't, weak athletes, but if you look at their front athlete, watch how high his hips are set. His butt is over his head, and when you do that, that's a hard pull off the floor, but what's more devastating is that it's a slow pull off the floor. So if he's the slowest one, that's going to slow down that over-the-shoulder portion of this movement.
It's going to be Soul, Balance, and Raw training, and a new event record by 49/100ths of a second. Less than half a second is Team Soul that came through earlier today with a big statement, gutting their way through and finishing event one, and then they shed an event record in event number two.
And it all came down to how well they handled the worm. That communication from front to back, and then keeping your eye on your partner on the chest to bar pull-ups. I'm in sync with you, you're in sync with me. In case something happens, I can see you on that. CrossFit Balance, not as efficient on the worm with that little bit of a no rep, and part of that just has to do with where those feet are in the middle, and then coming down to the wire. You look, the chip timer is actually on the second female athlete to sneak over the finish line, barely getting that event record.
Again, 49/100ths of a second as they get in, and Team Soul should be pretty happy here this morning to again get that event win and an event record. As you take a look at the unofficial results here, Team Soul, the only team to finish here in heat number 3, Balance, Dwala, and you take a look at Dwala had a nice morning too.
Yes, they did. When you think about it, you tied for second and another good finishing place in the first event. So coming in, I think they were one of the first. It's in the second heat.
Right.
So.
Right.
And that's the fun part about coming to the regionals. Like the Open, it's just on paper. It's 4 people's scores. We add them together, and that's your affiliate score. Now, how good is your team against other ones? How well do you work together? Dwala had a great all up to the final event till last year. So let's see if they can kind of make up what they lost last year.
Well, they'll be competing with a chip on the shoulder. Meantime, Team Soul with the event record. They are with Amanda Krenz.
Team Soul, congratulations on an event record, first of all.
Thank you.
The keys to this event, synchronization, communication. What are you doing in your training to make sure those are strengths?
Our coach, Danny Lopez-Calleja, he has had us training synchronization stuff for the past 8 months. So we have a lot of a great relationship with each other. Myself with the female athletes, my male teammate Todd with the female athletes, and then ourselves together. We've just been training a lot consistently for the past 8 months for all this synchronization stuff, and we were just ready for it.
When you guys are getting tired, worn down as this event goes on, what sorts of ways are you helping each other to keep your spirits up, to keep that energy up?
I mean, we don't really say anything to each other, but I think we're mentally synced so much that we just dig deeper for each other. Like, if I see Danielle pushing, that makes me want to push harder. If I see Melly pushing and working hard, that makes me want to work harder. So it's just, nobody wants to be the weakest link, and we're not. So we're always ready, and we're just kind of in sync.
You had a surprise finish in event 1. You surprised yourselves, weren't expecting to finish that. but you did, and you had a great event too. So what does this do to Team Seoul for the rest of the weekend?
It just makes us confident, but even though we have these wins, we know that we still got to come out here and try our hardest because all these teams are so good. We just have to constantly push ourselves past our limits.
Well, great day one, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Team Seoul, the event record, and a very, very good day one. That wraps up day one of team competition, the Atlantic Regional. We have individual male and female coming up, but in the meantime, we send it back out to the H2 studios for an update on all the regionals.